As President William Ruto marks the second year in office, the rising cost of living remains a key talking point among households across the country. Citizen TV's Jimmy Mbogo now tracks the cost of living for the last 2 years under the Kenya Kwanza administration, which swept into office on the promise that they would reduce the cost of living for ordinary Kenyans.
President William Ruto's term in office over the last 2 years has faced significant economic headwinds, and contrary to his promises of fixing the cost of living once he ascends into office.
Hii cartel mniwachie. Nikiweka tu Biblia Tuesday chini, mimi na wao.
Ruto on several occasions has not had the solution for the country's economic challenges. In his first year in office, the Kenyan currency shared its value to trade against the US dollar at over 160 to the dollar, the highest exchange rate in history against the greenback. However, it is the cost of fuel that has remained a major pain point for Kenyans, increasing the cost of transport and production for those in the manufacturing sector. In July 2022, the cost of a litre of petrol retailed at 159.12 shillings, while kerosene was at 127.9 shilling, diesel retailed at 140 shillings. But in September 2023, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority increased fuel prices significantly, with the price of petrol increasing by 16.96 shillings to 211.64 shillings per litre, while kerosene saw the highest jump at 33.13 shillings to 202.61 shillings per litre, while diesel cost was up 21.32 shillings to 200.9 shillings per litre, the highest increment seen in the country. This increment came barely a year into his term as president, a complete departure from his sentiments as deputy president.
The people at the Ministry of Petroleum have questions to answer, and the corruption cartel in the Ministry of Energy must be broken for the prices of fuel products to come down. It is not even about the taxes. It is about the corruption in the Ministry of Petroleum.
But this would not be his only sentiment on the cost of living that he should be forced to swallow over time. In June 2022, at the height of Kenya's political campaign, Kenyans were in the streets. At the core of their demonstration then was the rising cost of living and basic commodities that had continued to push families to the edge. And with a significant number of Kenyans having lost jobs owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, their message was simply to rally the government to lower the cost of food and other basic commodities as a precondition for them participating in the forthcoming general election. The then Deputy President and UDA candidate William Ruto vowed to reduce taxes and fuel prices as part of his efforts to lower the cost of living, even as he promised to find a lasting solution to the high cost of living.
Hatutakuwa tunafanya yale hawa majamaa wanafanya, kuwaweka wananchi kwenye njaa, alafu mnajifanya ati mnarudisha bei ya unga chini.
Si anaelewa bei ya maisha iko juu. Si yako na mpango ambayo itashukisha gharama ya maisha. Wale wanafikiria watatuhandaa na stories na mambo ya kutupea peremende.
The subsidy introduction, however, did not achieve the intended target, with inflation remaining elevated, where in August 2022 it stood at 8.5% before jumping to 9.2% in September and 9.6% in October. This was before it came down slightly to 9.5 in November and 9.1 in December 2022. Between January 2023 and March 2023, the country's inflation oscillated between 9.0% and 9.2% as of March, before coming down to 7.9% in April and further down to 7.3% in July and later 6.7% in August of the same year. The inflationary pressures in mid-2023 saw Kenyans yet again head to the streets. At the time, a 2-kilogram packet of fortified maize flour was retailing at 192.46, up from 177.34 the previous year. A kilogram of sugar had also gone up from 129.55 shillings in 2022 to 194.29 shillings in 2023. Even as a kilo of Irish potatoes, another staple in the country, went up from 84.85 shillings to 107.98. Ruto, on his part, argued that his administration will not go back to subsidizing consumption, but would subsidize production.
We are already implementing the programs that will deal with the cost of living. I don't know why you cannot see. In your own backyard, fertilizer is now going to sell from next week as 2,500. In your own backyard, farmers are doing a great job, and God has blessed us with rain. We have a whole program. What you are recommending, all these violence and demonstrations and everything you are doing, will not in any way contribute in any manner towards solving the challenge of the cost of living.
But with an increased borrowing and looming Eurobond to repay, Ruto's first budget in 2023 saw an increase in tax revenue raising measures, which was a further blow to the disposable income of salaried Kenyans, with the introduction of a 3% housing levy. 2 years down the line, inflation as of August 2024 stood at 4.4% on the back of rising food prices, energy and transport costs. In the period between August 2023 and August 2024, food and non-alcoholic beverages priced increased by 5.3%. But despite inflation remaining well anchored, Kenyans are still forced to contend with high commodity prices and diminished purchasing power and competing wallet priorities. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.